What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, September 15th, 2023, and I have another emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 12:14 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and we currently have a U.S. nuclear bomber flying along the Romanian Black Sea coast, and this comes just days after Romania announced that three Russian suicide drones crashed and detonated inside of Romania, and one of them crashed 10 miles into Romanian territory. Now, the Romanian government is building bomb shelters for residents of Romania that live near the Ukrainian border. And these bomb shelters are made out of concrete and sandbags. And they're going to be setting up an air raid alert system. They've already evacuated one town in Romania that's near the Danube River. Okay. And we also have some breaking news that came out yesterday that Russia fired at a British reconnaissance plane in the Black Sea. A Russian fighter jet intentionally launched missiles at a British reconnaissance plane in the Black Sea last September. And this is being confirmed by three Western officials. And basically, they're saying that it was intentional and not accidental. So I want to update you guys on that, because initially, when news of that came out, the British government said that, oh, it was purely an accident. And now the story's changing, and they're saying that, yeah, the Russian fighter pilot did actually intentionally release a missile at this British reconnaissance plane, which had 30 British Air Force crew members on board. And luckily, thank God, the missile did not hit the recon plane, because that would have taken out 30 British service members and probably started World War III, okay, or nuclear war, even, okay. One of the missiles malfunctioned and somehow missed the recon plane, and another missile dropped completely from the plane. So I want to just update you on that, but it looks like the situation in the Black Sea is really escalating, and it looks like the Black Sea is where World War III is going to start. Okay. This is extremely serious, guys. For there to be a B 52 in the air right now, flying along the Romanian Black Sea coast, is extremely unusual and unheard of. I think the last time this happened was a few months ago. They flew some B 52s right up to the Ukrainian border and then turned around and came back. But now we have a B 52 that is actually loitering near Constanta, and it's doing loops around Constanta. Okay. So it's actually hanging out there for an extended period of time and basically functioning as a bouncer for Romania. Okay. It's basically like a bouncer at a nightclub. Okay. You walk up to the nightclub and you see a big dude that's bald and has tattoos, you're not going to mess with him. Same thing here. We have this B 52 that's has its transponder on, so Russia knows it's there, and it's patrolling right along the Romanian Black Sea. And the B 52 can carry air launched cruise missiles with a range of 2,000 miles that have the W-80 nuclear warhead, which has a blast yield of 150 kilotons, and they can carry well over a dozen of those. Okay, so just one B 52 can destroy a lot of things. Okay, we also have a P 8 Poseidon that was just in the air patrolling the Romanian Black Sea coast and the Romanian Ukrainian border. And we also have a reconnaissance plane that just finished doing a recon patrol in the Baltic countries and along the Polish Kaliningrad or Polish Russian border. And we also have some breaking news that apparently Russia has closed down part of Bulgaria's exclusive economic zone in the Black Sea to shipping, which is illegal. You cannot do that. They're doing basically a military exercise in Bulgaria's exclusive economic zone, which is legal according to international law. You can do military exercises in another country's exclusive economic zone, but you can't shut it down because it's international waters. There's no legality in shutting down somebody else's economic zone. You cannot do that. You can do your military exercises, but you cannot restrict other countries from freedom of navigation. That's illegal. So what Russia's doing is not legal under international law. Okay, it's not an actual violation of Bulgaria's territorial waters, which extend 7 miles out from their border. They're not doing it in Bulgaria's territorial waters because that would be a violation of Bulgaria's sovereignty, and that would violate NATO, and Article 5 would come in. But this is very provocative for Russia to do this exercise in their exclusive economic zone and declare that shipping is not allowed through their exclusive economic zone. That's a violation of international law. So the question is this going to start some kind of World War III situation where NATO and the UN are going to get involved and open up these shipping lanes in the Black Sea, because Russia cannot declare the Black Sea, which is international waters, to be closed to shipping. It's illegal. They cannot do that. Okay, it's international waters. So the UN may have to go in there, and that could escalate into something big. Okay, so very serious situation. I want to just show you guys where this B-52 is right now. So it took off from Sicily at Sigonella. Okay. And right now it is doing these loops around Constanta. Okay. And up here, this is where the P-8 Poseidon was patrolling along the Danube Delta. All right. In this area here. But here we have the B-52, just doing loops right outside of, I'm sorry, not Constanta. Is that Constanta? Yeah, Constanta. I'm sorry. Just doing loops. Look at that. Just, doing loops. Whether it's armed or not, I have no idea, but that is extremely unusual and very serious. And then here we have a British reconnaissance plane. And basically, this is the same type of plane that Russia fired on last September. Okay. And you can see that it went along the Polish-Russian border. Then it went into Lithuania, spent some time along the Lithuanian-Belarusian border, and now it's on the way back. Okay. Let me just read to you this article from the BBC about the Russian pilot that tried to shoot down that recon plane. Okay. So this is a solid source here. A Russian pilot tried to shoot down an RAF surveillance plane after believing he had permission to fire, the BBC has learned. The pilot fired 2 missiles, the first of which missed rather than malfunctioned, as claimed at the time. Russia had claimed the incident last September was caused by a technical malfunction. The UK's Ministry of Defense publicly accepted the Russian explanation, but now 3 senior Western defense sources with knowledge of the incident have told the BBC that Russian communications intercepted by the RC-135 rivet joint give a very different account from the official version. The RAF plane, with a crew of up to 30, was flying a surveillance mission over the Black Sea in international airspace on September 29th last year when it encountered 2 Sukhoi 27 fighter jets. The intercepted communications show that one of the Russian pilots thought he had been given permission to target the British aircraft following an ambiguous command from a Russian ground station. However, The second Russian pilot did not. He remonstrated and swore at his wingman when he fired the missile. Okay, so basically there was a bad command given from a Russian ground station, and the pilot interpreted it the wrong way and thought it meant, okay, you have the green light to fire, and his wingman started arguing with him and was fighting him and trying to stop the launch. Okay, um, the rivet joint is loaded with sensors to intercept communications. The RAF crew, that's Royal Air Force, that's the UK's Air Force, would have been able to listen into the incident, which could have resulted in their own deaths. Okay, so this recon plane was able to intercept the communications that the fighter jets were having with their ground control stations, and they were intercepting the whole thing. And so basically, the British government covered it up, okay, because they didn't want people to know that this happened. NATO didn't want people to know. And now the truth is coming out. And this is why I tell you guys to be prepared, because you never know what is going on behind the scenes, okay? A lot of you guys complain to me and say, oh, why are you doing red alerts all the time? Well, these are just training flights. We just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Like right now, there's a B-52 in the air. We don't know if that's training. We don't know if there's something going on, if there's some kind of violation that happened earlier today or yesterday. We have no idea unless you have a Yankee White clearance and a top secret clearance. You will have no idea. Okay. So this is why you have to be prepared and you have to be ready at all times, because nuclear war can break out in minutes. Okay. Minutes. You're not going to have time to prepare. I'm not going to be going on here and making an emergency alert when Russia's firing nukes at the UK. By then, it's going to be too late. Okay. I'm going to be down in my basement with my supplies getting ready for the fallout. Okay. I'll try to do an update, but there's no guarantee. Okay. So this is why I alert you guys ahead of time, so you can see when things are building up and you start to prepare now while you have a chance. Because once the nukes start to fly, if this plane got shot down, whether it was an accident or not, it would have escalated to a World War III, possibly nuclear war. Okay, this could have been the closest we've been to nuclear war ever in humanity. This situation right here. This is worse than the Cuban Missile Crisis. Okay, this is a lot worse. Okay, because if that missile actually connected, because the pilot did fire it, okay, he actually fired the missile. If that missile actually hit the plane, nuclear war would have broken out. I can guarantee you that. And I don't care what anybody says, that this is the closest we've ever been to nuclear war, ever. Okay? And obviously, they didn't want to tell the truth about it because they know that it's so serious and so bad that it would just, make major headlines around the world and people would freak out. Guys, and I'm sure this is not the only situation like this. I'm sure there were many more that have been covered up. So please get prepared, okay? Have a plan for nuclear war. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds like you can't survive, but have a plan, because you can survive nuclear war. And it may not be, the most fun thing, but it's better than being irradiated and dying a slow death from radiation sickness. Okay, if you want to know what radiation does to the body, I recommend you watch the HBO series Chernobyl. I mean, if you get a fatal dose of radiation, it's not a quick death. Okay, your flesh literally rots off of your body over weeks. Okay, and you're just sitting there in a bed and you have necrosis all over your body and your flesh just falls off. Okay, it's a very painful death that I do not want to be subjected to, or I don't want to get that. Okay, so let me just continue on with this here. This is just so serious, guys. As the two Russian Sukhoi 27s approached the RAF spy plane, they received a communication from their ground station controller, One Western source told the BBC the words they received were to the effect of, "You have the target." This ambiguous language was interpreted by one of the Russian pilots as permission to fire. The loose language appears to have shown a high degree of unprofessionalism by those involved, sources said. In contrast, NATO pilots use very precise language when asking for and receiving permission to fire. The Russian pilot released an air to air missile which successfully launched but failed to lock onto its target, the BBC had been told. It was a miss, not a malfunction. Okay, so somehow it missed, it didn't lock on properly, whatever. Defense sources have told the BBC that a row then broke out between the two Russian pilots. Okay, so the two pilots were fighting each other because the one wanted to fire and the other one didn't. He didn't want to be responsible for starting nuclear war and World War III. The pilot of the second Sukhoi 27 did not think they had been given permission to fire. He is said to have sworn at his comrade, effectively asking him what he thought he was doing, yet the first pilot still released another missile. We had been told that the second missile simply fell from the wing, suggesting the weapon either malfunctioned or that the launch was aborted. Okay. 3 weeks later, the UK government confirmed the incident had taken place after an explanation from the Russian Ministry of Defense called it a technical malfunction. In a statement to MPs on October 20, the then Defense Secretary Ben Wallace called it a potentially dangerous engagement, but he accepted the Russian explanation, saying, "We do not consider this incident to constitute a deliberate escalation on the part of the Russians, and our analysis concurs that it was due to a malfunction." However, a secret intelligence leak revealed that the U.S. military spoke of what happened in more stark terms. In a raft of documents published online by U.S. Airman Jack Teixeira, the same incident was described as a near shoot-down. The incident was far more serious than originally portrayed and could have amounted to an act of war, the New York Times reported. According to two U.S. defense officials, the newspaper said the Russian pilot had misinterpreted an order from the ground. The Russian pilot who'd locked onto the British aircraft fired, but the missile did not launch properly. Blah, 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 blah. So looks like multiple news sources did report this at the time, but Britain, denied it. So, guys, this is very, very serious, okay? And the chances of something like this happening again are very, very high. Please make sure you have all your preps in order and make sure you have a nuclear war survival plan. We also have breaking news coming out of Romania. The Romanian Defense Ministry has expanded flight restrictions after this drone debris incident where they found the drones on their territory, the Russian drones. And they're now banning piloted and unmanned aircraft from flying within 19 miles of the Ukrainian border at an altitude of less than 4,000 meters. So that's pretty serious. And like I said earlier, the whole situation with Bulgaria, very, very serious. I did mention this in my updates yesterday in more detail, but Bulgaria is now consulting with NATO. They're building infrastructure as we speak to beef up the NATO battle group in Bulgaria. So, the Black Sea is a huge flashpoint, guys. Okay, Russia's literally going to be doing military exercises off the coast of Bulgaria, and they've shut down their exclusive economic zone to shipping, which is illegal. Okay, the UN has the right to go in there and set up a no-fly zone in the Black Sea. They could do that. Okay, and that could lead to major escalation. We also have breaking news that Russia has expelled 2 U.S. diplomats, and the U.S. says that they will respond appropriately. Okay, and this was stated by the State Department spokesperson Matt Miller in a press briefing on September 14th. He said, "This unprovoked expulsion of our diplomatic personnel is wholly without merit. On September 14th, the Russian Foreign Affairs Ministry told U.S. Ambassador Lynn Tracy that 2 American diplomats, Jeffrey Sillin and David Bernstein, had been declared persona non grata and would have to leave the Russian Federation within 7 days. The Russian government accused the diplomats of conducting illegal activities and collaborating with Robert Shanov, a Russian citizen who was arrested on espionage charges. All right, so huge news here, guys. Diplomatic relations continue to break down between the U.S. and Russia. Very close to nuclear war last year with this, almost shoot down of a manned recon plane, a British manned recon plane. And I'm going to keep an eye on this B-52. It's still doing loops as of 12:35 p.m. Eastern time. But I will be doing another update later. So stay tuned to my channel for another update later on today, sometime in the afternoon or early evening hours. I'll give you an update on this B-52 and some more breaking news. So make sure you have the bell notification set up so you get notified. Hit the bell icon so you get notified when I post these videos. And other than that, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.